Hello and good evening and welcome to
The
Truth Behind the Truth
Yeah.
in Deja Vu.
It must be Saturday.
If something happened, I don't know, but I feel like I'm in Deja Vu. I went back to last week today. But anyway, it's all good. All right. Yeah, the main thing is you got us. That's the important part. Okay. Guys, we're going to welcome you to a great fun night, with the fellas tonight. All right. Hey, news buzz with the fellas.
Yes.
And, sending greetings for Parnell. All right. He is, since his greetings guy, he is on the stage.
Woo!
Yes.
Yes.
Making that money, y'all, in Michigan. I hope y'all haven't been out to see him already, But he's on the stage tonight. So he is not present with us. He's with us in spirit, but not president, in the personhood. And his stand-in, they couldn't stand in tonight. So, so it's the other part of the family, with you. Harold, how are you?
Oh, I'm good. I had a self-care day. So I started my day. I went and had a pedicure.
Okay.
And I went and had a foot massage and I had a neck and back massage. So I'm feeling real relaxed. So I got to be careful to not say anything real crazy because I'm a little too relaxed. I feel like I'm doing something.
So that massage didn't go any lower than your neck, did it?
Well,
Oh, wow. Wow. We're not gonna take that conversation.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, this is live. I don't know if anybody want to hear that conversation. Put it in the comment box if you want to know what happened next.
I'm feeling good.
I don't know. If you're interested, put it in the comment section. We'll discuss it.
Harold's massage.
That's right. That's right. If you're interested, we'll talk about it.
Well, did you take the video?
I left a tip.
Oh, okay.
So I left satisfied.
Oh, whoa. Okay.
I'm trying to get us to go to something like a Spa Jeju, which we have is the Spa Palace out here in LA. I'm trying to get us to go. And lay out in those humidity rooms, cold rooms, salt rooms, and that's so worth needed for your body to heal. You need all of those. You need to purify but detox at the same time.
Right.
So I'm so wanting to go back. That was one of the things I used to love to do in Atlanta. Go out to Spa Jeju.
Oh yeah, I've been there. Yeah.
Oh God.
And for me, pedicures, it's not even self-care. It's like I have to because I inherited my dad's feet.
Oh. Okay.
And I remember as a kid, probably 9 or 10, seeing my dad on the bed with newspaper under him, cutting off with a knife, cutting off the little calluses off his feet.
Oh wow.
Oh wow.
And my feet are just as special as his, so I have to.
Like you said.
You don't claw up sheets, right?
Well, that's why I have to go get a pedicure on a regular basis because these feet they're not nice.
Well, at least you are truthful and honest about that. There is nothing,
there's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that at all. And it's funny that that's kind of like part of our conversation tonight. I actually kind of leading into it. We were going to talk about the
masculinity, the litany test for masculinity.
Yes, and
the litany test.
The litany test. Okay, they pushing that damn radar off the radar at this point.
Well, we should ask our audience the question: what makes a man a man?
Thank you.
What makes a man a man? If you have that answer, put it in the comment section.
Please put it in the
comment. Truth behind the truth. What makes a man to you? Because I'm hearing so many crazy hypotheses of what a man should be, how he should walk. Should he be in a hookah bar, sucking on a hookah?
Yes.
There's craziness going on.
Now, should he walk around with messed up feet? You're
right. It's totally
to maintain his status as a man.
Right, exactly.
Crazy.
And Lord behold, if you're talking about going to get a pedicure as a man, oh no. Not, you can't do that.
Okay, I'm going to get very ignorant. As a woman, now if your man come with dirty fingernails,
stop. Oh my God!
I'm just wondering now if your man come in with dirty fingernails and y'all trying to do the nasty.
Oh, stop!
I don't want to do. He go clean them fingernails, or he just do what he do with them dirty fingernails, because they have a thing with it. I'm just saying, from what I heard from women, you got to be a little clean.
Or if your man has feet that can cut you, do you want?
Okay. Yeah.
These feet I have, if they don't get a pedicure, they will cut you.
Okay. Damn. So it's a good thing that you're not in a brawl, because look, I'm gonna take my shoe off and I'm gonna cut you.
Right. I'm gonna fight you with my feet.
Okay. Just don't date anybody with a foot fetish.
Right.
You might hurt them.
They're in the hospital.
But for real, I mean, back to your point though, I mean, it's really, I think when we're trying to talk about male toxicity,
right?
But it's toxic to me just to even, to have a conversation about self-care. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, or classifying that being male dominant or male masculine or male feminine, or, and all this other type of things, and
even down to the toilet paper.
Yeah. Oh God. See, I can't.
Now, what happened to the
I can't.
We get nasty now a little bit.
No, because look, we're talking about this, the ladies. Look, if you have a problem with your boyfriend, your man, then you need to let him hear this show, because we're gonna get in and we're gonna let him know about what's going on. Okay, we're gonna talk about it in its fullness tonight. All right,
a man know how to be a man. All right, Greg Bullock, a man know how to be a man.
Thank you, Greg. Yes, indeed. Because this is just ridiculous. I mean, to the point, and you brought it up, and I'm talking about it. We go back to the pedicure, manicure stuff.
Okay,
but this thing about, you said about wiping your okay, wiping your ass. All right, why don't y'all understand that wipes were bought for a purpose? Okay, why don't y'all use wipes? Okay, because there were conversations that we had with some women back in Atlanta. Yeah. Okay, men, y'all not wiping your ass.
I wouldn't say it like that. No. I wouldn't say it like that. Because let me. Hold on. Because
there's 2 points. Go ahead.
Because I used to ask this question to a lot. I used to ask now. Because I remember I was working in a store in Midtown, and the girl bought toilet paper, right? And I said, you're not gonna buy any wipes, right? She was like, why do I need to buy wipes? I said, y'all don't use wipes. She said, no, we don't use wipes. I said, wait a minute, so your man don't use wipes as well? She said, no. And I sat back and I thought about it. I said, well, don't go no further, but the Cocoa Buds.
Okay. Well, how y'all doing? How y'all doing?
Was the Cocoa Buds? I said, oh, okay, girl. You all right? That's all I need to know. All right.
D, how's your day going, D? How's your day going?
Go ahead and answer. We got to get in this a little bit more, because I got some I got some I won't say, because we're gonna educate some men tonight. I'm telling you, because y'all gonna be some clean ass men. I mean, your ass gonna be clean. Okay.
You can't help the willing.
You can't help the that ain't the willing.
It ain't a word.
So okay, answer the question, because we got some more to dig in about this. But go ahead. Answer.
She said no. I live with all boys, and we go through a lot of TPs. Oh my God! But you think about this stuff, because I don't get me wrong. You grow when you're growing and you're learning and you're being enlightened on life. Some things have to change along with the process.
Absolutely.
And I remember, before we were talking, I kept you enlightened me on a whole lot of stuff I did not know. And thank God, because I improved with the process. If you don't know, you just don't know. But if somebody tells you it's worth doing something different to improve something that's hygienic, or something that's intellectually, to make you better intellectually, I think you should go along with the process and evolve. Right. But you have some people who are so stuck in their ways, they don't want to change because that's all they knew. That all they know. It will make you feel some.
What are you? So are you guys saying that some people don't clean themselves?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna go there.
Okay.
Or labeling it, because here's the opportunity of information to grow. You're labeling it as you trying to be feminine, you trying to be gay, you trying to be all of these other things because you decided to keep your lower parts clean. Okay, but hold on. So here was the other part now here. Okay, get ready for the tea on this part. Ladies that's watching, thank you for watching, but maybe you're gonna have to pass this on too. So the other part is that men were supposed to be wearing dark underwear so that the women did not see stripes.
Guess who came out with that one? Guess who came out with that? Wait a minute, Harold, come back. Guess who said this?
Oh, wait
a minute. I'm not through. I want to answer your question.
Go ahead.
Guess who said Harold. That? Ray J. Y'all know Ray, Brandy's little brother.
Yes.
Ray J said that.
Ray J said that.
Yes, he did.
I swear.
On the Breakfast Club.
I swear.
On the Breakfast Club. Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Railroad track draw.
Yes.
Ray J. Kim Kardashian's Ray J.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, if that was, I can imagine what that room smelled like that day.
To Greg, look for your saggers. That's where that comes.
You know what I can. But so when here's the last one. We're gonna move on to a dark space here. So the other one, okay, y'all. We bring y'all into the 22nd century. Okay,
you might as well.
I'm not being funny.
Mary says she cracking up because she does her boys' line.
Thank you, Mary. So the other was, okay, now this is for the mature ladies. Yes, okay, this is the other one. The men, and they had this conversation on the Breakfast Club too. All right, that washing your behind in the shower was a gay thing.
That's been around for a long time.
Well, they made it more current. Yeah. So you scrubbing in the dark parts and making sure the dark areas are refreshed, okay, and cleansed. All right. It was a homosexual gay thing. Okay. But we're gonna leave y'all with that thought and come on right back from break when we talk about some more cleaning your ass.
Yep.
Call 844-55-STARZ. It's Junk Stars, baby.
Hey, my name is Thurston, and here I have my CEO, son Langston. We specialize in junk removal, dumpster rental, and demolition. So if you need junk removed,
call Junk Stars.
You need dumpster rentals,
call Junk Stars.
All right, and we are back with the hygiene show tonight. So before we move on, we were talking
got some
about
good answers on the what makes a man a man.
Yeah,
keep going with the comment section. We love it.
Yeah,
keep
definitely. I mean, we appreciate that. Coming in. Like I said, there's a question that we ain't addressed tonight. Please, hey, send us an email.
Keep talking about it.
Keep talking about it. Hey, because if your man don't know, hey, send him the show. Okay.
See, there's a conversation now
right.
on social media that is messing up the situation about masculinity.
Right.
I mean, it's so layered. The subject matter is so layered because of the fact that a man, we are all different. We are all unique. We all come from different.
Clean your ass.
Well, that too. But we all come from different environments, different cultures, different. It's just so much you could talk about and being about femininity and being masculine.
Right.
But at the end of the day, let's just start with the pop shots about at the end of the day, like a man is a man.
Right.
I mean, regardless of what you think a man should be doing, as long as he's taking care of himself and paying his bills and his priorities are in check.
Right.
That's one thing you would think about, you would want in a man is making sure that he is prioritizing correctly.
That's true. So I'm going to say this in the comical way, then we're going to move on to this other part about why we're talking tonight. So I'm going to say this. So men, wash everything down there, okay, please. And then nowadays you probably need even trim down there a little bit too. Okay, so take a note to be able to do that. And then when you wash, put some deodorant and some cologne down there too. Keep your significant other happy. Okay,
they'll love you for it. They
will love you for it. Okay,
at the end of the day, loving. You'll get more love.
Take care of your shit down there. Let's stop leaving shit down there. All right, but anyway, so we're gonna move on. That's hygiene for this week. Now, when you bring it up next week, we'll do it again. So there's this thing in the news right now. Okay, that they're talking about men showing emotion. Okay, which is very, very sad in my opinion. Okay, so this big thing now about men crying. Okay, and then men showing tears, and how it's demasculating themselves again because they show tears and they're in their emotional state, whether it be losing a loved one, joyful because hey, the daughter got married, or whatever, or they just seen a brother they haven't seen or a cousin, whatever. So in other words, they're talking about men can't cry, okay, or show tears. So
I will give you this little tidbit. What if Ike Turner would have been crying?
Oh, wow.
We would have still had the Ike and Tina review. What if Joe Jackson would have been crying?
Wow.
Michael Jackson would have still been with us. I think I would rather want that man to cry, to be honest with you, because what has happened with that is you cannot tell a man not to cry. I just feel like you are really borderlining, the situation with the psychology of emotion, because when you bottle in emotion, what do you want to do? You want to fight,
right? Absolutely.
Then you want to cuss, and then you want to fight,
right?
One thing you cannot control is you shouldn't control man's emotions, but I think in society we have been told that a man should be strong, even in our religions. A man is the protector, the provider. He should be stoic.
Right.
But the fact is, what in this situation, you had a bunch of women and some men who say, well, you cannot go to your spouse or to your children with any type of emotional situations. I think that's really you're crossing the line a little bit. You're crossing the line.
It's really unfortunate because you're telling men that they can't be human.
Thank you.
Exactly.
But I remember growing up and my dad saying to me, I don't know if I had fallen or something had happened, and he told me, you better not cry. He made crying to be something that was not acceptable. And so I suppressed that emotion. And for most of my life, I have not been hard pressed to express those emotions just because of that early programming from my dad and him telling me, you better not cry, as if that was a sign of weakness.
Right.
And so that's why you have so many people, though, I believe, who end up doing drugs or doing things to numb themselves, having sex with a whole bunch of people. It's part of how they numb themselves through those kind of activities because they're not expressing their emotions. Sometimes you're going to hurt. Sometimes you're going to feel bad. You're going to feel every span of emotion that humans feel. And crying and expressing sadness is not a sign of weakness. Doesn't mean you're not a man.
Right.
Oh,
Right.
so
Right.
I think it's the programming, particularly in the African American culture, that we receive.
Well, I you know, and I'm in totally agreement with that. With what you're saying about that, Harold. It is sad that this type of programming is being put into men by and large. And to your point, I've had conversations with this with other cultures. That typically our Hispanic brothers, it's probably, I would say, worse almost than what we were experiencing in our culture. Because one of my young colleagues, I mean, he is really at the point that it bothers him to even have that emotion to want to cry.
Wow.
And we've been talking about it. I've been kind of counseling him through it and understanding and enlightening and celebrating the fact that you have tear ducts. Okay, and they're there to be used, for in the emotional situation or whatever,
Right.
at the end of the day. So it's a very, very sad thing that men in general have been put up under this amount of pressure, for that, because you have it. I mean, in sports, and somebody gets tackled or hurt out on the field or whatever the case would be, and then you come, oh man, you need to suck it up. That's what a man would do. You in pain. It doesn't matter if you're in pain. Suck it up.
It's so funny, and I can educate you on this, even within the gay community. We are just as a carbon copy as the heterosexual community,
Right.
and within our emotions. I remember in college, there was a guy I was talking to, and I got so emotional in the car, and I started to cry. I did cry. I ain't gonna lie, I cried, and I think I really threw him. It threw him to the point that he did not know how to deal or how to at least soothe the situation. He just was just in the car emotionless. And I was like, golly, if I'm feeling this way, don't you think? But then on top of that, now that we're talking about this, it puts that back into perspective that a lot of us are programmed to not feel, because even as children,
Right.
I'm not trying to throw off on the women, but when you have little boys you are raising, I think it's best to at least not say when you are punishing them, don't cry.
Don't cry, right?
Because what happens is
Big boys don't cry. Big boys
Right.
don't cry.
big boys don't cry.
Right.
I think you need to. I think at times that's a conversation that needs to be had within the homes, and then on top of that, not to be suppressed.
Right.
But then on the religious side of it, if that's the case, Jesus wept.
I say Jesus Christ.
Jesus wept
Jesus
when
cried.
Nazareth, when he came back
when
to
Lazarus-
home,
yeah,
when
when
Nazarus
Lazarus-
had died,
right,
and
right.
Elizabeth, and Nazareth's mother and Mary was because that's where Mary Don't You Weep came from, right?
Mhm.
It came
So
from.
what
this.
y'all saying? So Jesus was soft? Is that what y'all
Yeah,
saying?
okay. Well, in the greatest tears, y'all know me in Bible history. The greatest tears that he could cry was the ones for humanity in the Garden of Gethsemane.
Yes, he did.
Okay, so those were the greatest tears that were, and at the point of dying on the cross. Okay,
That's right.
but we're gonna talk about the black and white Jesus eventually. We ain't going there just yet. So, but go ahead. Good point. But yeah, Jesus did cry, y'all.
But that's that's Pope. But but that really, I think that's a conversation and that needs to be had. And people would stop saying that to little boys,
Yes.
because you don't want boys to grow up to be emotional. I don't know if this is the word, but emotionalist, or just to be just irrational. And what comes with that is abuse,
Right.
verbal
True.
abuse
That's true.
and physical abuse,
yes.
because they don't know how to express
Right.
their emotions.
Right.
And neglect, because you're not able
neglect.
to connect with your kids and raise your kids in a healthy way if you're not able to express emotions and give them space to express their
Absolutely.
emotions.
Absolutely.
And you're not able to be a good partner. If
Right.
if you're suppressing your emotions, you can't fully be present for your partner or your spouse when they're going through something, because
Absolutely.
you're not going to show emotions just like suck it up. No,
Right.
no,
Yeah,
I'm in
really?
pain. I'm in pain,
Right.
and that's okay. It's okay to acknowledge when you're in pain. It's okay to acknowledge when you are experiencing loss. And I think when I think about it, all the suicides of with Black men recently that we're
Right.
seeing, I think some of that has to do with that. People not feeling comfortable enough to express their emotions and talk about what they really feel
That's
for
true.
the fear of ridicule or rejection, that people may have.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
That's a great example right
Exactly.
here.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Right.
And I don't mean to cut you off here. Go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
I was so kudos to our producer even putting those 5 toxic men up, I mean, they were manning up that particular day. But so here's the thing, that if they would have been in touch with their particular emotions and the reason why they were or were not, they would have never beat that boy to death.
A lot of men
at the end of the day. You know what I mean? And it comes out in ways that it should not be coming out in ways. And women, that those out there, those of you have been in abusive relationships. Okay, at the end of the day, there's a reason why that comes from. I mean, and I think anybody that's not in touch with themselves, period, is room for abuse. I mean, at the end of the day, it's room for abuse. Be it may not be physically, but it sure can be verbally, because you can cut some people down. And just real quick, I know we got to move on, but I want to just bring up my own grandson. What we went through with my grandson, because he was in a situation with a toxic stepmother. Okay, I mean, very, very toxic stepmama. Because see, I'm gonna tell y'all, if she would have, if the stuff that he heard that said to me on the phone, I promise y'all, I would have beat her ass. And I'm gonna say it straight up, okay? And I'm not lying. I would have got a belt. I would have got a belt and gave her the whipping that her dad should have gave her a whipping a long time ago, okay? Because you don't say things like that to people that you're elder them and to a young guy, okay, that's growing up.
The same guy you didn't do that, we wouldn't be having the truth behind the truth.
That's true. It'd have been probably behind the DeKalb County Jail somewhere going on. Because it probably would have. Because for my grandson, I probably would have went there, okay? But here's the long and short of the story. She pushed him to the point that he almost he tried to commit suicide.
Yeah, it was
okay. So then I'm talking about somebody that's real personal, like my grandson. My grandson, my dearest part to me. So let's not do these type of things, people. Okay, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, and ladies, like I said, thank you so much for watching and tuning in. But if you know men, if you know young men and men that need to hear what we're talking about tonight, pass this word on to them. Okay, pass this word on. Send them this show and let them hear for themselves, from washing their ass and not being toxic in a situation, not showing their emotions. I mean, really, it's a very sad state of affair to be in. At this point. One thing, we're going to move on. And
we don't promote violence either. No, we don't promote violence. But I hear what you're saying, but we don't promote it.
No, that's not a promote. I'm just I'm telling the truth behind the truth about how you get put in a situation. At the end of the day, But we want to really speak to the fact too, also about the mental problems that this causes, real quick. I don't know, Harold is kind of like our resident expert to speak about mental wellness, and encouraging people. So, before we go on to the next point, Harold, you may want to encourage fellows about looking at their mental wellness and things and taking an approach to, looking at this a better way than they do.
Well, I always say pain is information. If you're experiencing any kind of emotional pain, that's information. And what you do with that information will dictate, the outcome. And too often, if we're trying to suppress it and not doing anything with the information, we're going to continue to experience and feel the pain. So if you're experiencing any kind of pain, know that that's information and use that to get some help and get some support, And a lot of times the support you may need is not in your immediate circle.
Right.
You may need to go seek out professional help.
Right. Speaking of which, thank you for sharing that, because next month, guys, a quick plug for next month. March, we're going to be focusing in a little bit more, again, dealing with men, and then also dealing with the emotional trauma that men are dealing with, okay, and helping you become out of that. So we've got a couple of shows coming up next month that'll be dealing with. So encourage your men, ladies, and men that are out there. Definitely tune into this show, because if you're dealing with mental wellness or mental issues, please come get our matter of fact, our resident psychiatrist, Dr. Nicole Benton will be with us speaking to those. And we also have another individual that was on the show, Tamika, is about family counseling.
Oh, yeah.
As well, to help you kind of, get your idea where you should be in the realm of your family. I know you, Harry, you were about to say something.
No, I was just going to say, we got congratulations are in order.
Oh.
There's a baby on the way.
Oh, yes. Yeah. We're about to go that way.
The Brad is about to have a baby. The Brad is 5 months pregnant. She announced on the Sherry Shepherd show that she and her beautiful wife are expecting their first child. Yes. When I tell you, this was the shocker of all shockers, because whoever thought that the Brat would be pregnant? But, it's a beautiful beautiful thing.
Yes.
I know Mariah Carey gonna be doing the baby shower because you know they good friend Missy Elliott and Mariah Carey gonna blow it up.
Right,
They
right.
gonna blow it all the way up. But I think this is wonderful. It does put in perspective that you know you can have, well, I don't know, depending on your health and depending on your income, because let's call it spade a spade.
Right.
A lot of women after 50, it's kind of hard.
Right.
Because you know it is what it is, but I
think she's 48. I think
she's 48. But you know, Janet was out. I think Janet was around 50 when she had her birth.
Yes, she was.
But you know, she had to go through the process of carrying her. Now this is the brat had to go through the process of carrying her wife's eggs and then carrying the seed of the man and then having the baby, because the wife already has 3 kids already.
Oh, really?
She already have 3 kids. So this would be Brat's first time and going through the process of childbirth. So I thought that was very interesting. That's why I say it depends on the income, because that is a very healthy income. You got to have it to go through this process. That's just something that you don't go to a bargain basement and get.
You know what is funny? The Brat is she's so, you know, I guess in the gay community, she's considered a stud. And so when they were talking about how far along she was, she said she was in her first semester, not 5 months. She didn't even know the lingo, you know, the pregnant lingo. But yeah, it's funny.
Not her first semester.
You know
but you know what? Okay.
But you know what's so sad about this situation? Y'all pray for her sister, Lisa
Ray, her mom passed.
That too. But you know, they just have something about their situations as sisters in this situation that is very funky right now. And you know, I've been noticing, you know, little comments from Lisa saying that she did not know about the pregnancy until she heard it on the television screen.
Wow.
So you know, let's just pray for that, because
you know, sibling relationships are complicated. Look, we on and off all the time. So
they
look at Prince Harry and Prince William. I mean, they're having a situation too at the time.
Right. So that's common. Pray for all of us.
Yeah, Jesus, they fighting them up. But I don't blame Harry. I would have left William for Meghan anyway. William crazy.
Well, on that note, okay, we got to get ready for a quick break. When we come back from break, we are going to dig into ageism in America. All right, on Hot Buzz with the fellas tonight. Ageism in America. So kind of think about that. We want to hear your comments. We'll be right back, guys. All right, and good evening once again, guys, and thank you so much for tuning into The Truth Behind the Truth tonight. It has been an exciting show.
Yes, it has.
And we're gonna get a little bit more deeper, But I do want to remind you real quick about DTWW reactions, y'all. If y'all are not going over to that page, okay, y'all need to carry your butts. I'm about to say something else, but carry your butts on over there to DTWW reactions, okay? This man is the walking, flowing, rolling, jumping. What else can I say? Smiling. Tell about the history buff, okay? Historian, I mean, just all of it, and very, very powerful with it. So you can go over there and learn. You can really go over there from historic Hollywood to Hitler, okay?
You be pulling some good ones.
I'm telling you, hey, look, y'all need to go and support, please do. And of course, was our resident nutrition. All right, if you're not supporting Brother Harold and the world of juicing, something wrong. Okay,
you get your juice on.
You better get your juice on. Get his books. Okay, get that new machine he got. That thing do everything for you. Okay. The only thing it won't do is shred, but will shred cut the part off the veggies. But yeah, go to his website, The Good Living Now. Check it out. Okay, support. This is time we talk about Black businesses. Okay, this is Black History Month. Okay, support. Before we get into ages, and I know we want to take a quick moment out about Black history real fast. Okay, I don't like to call it Black. I call it Black people making success in America. Okay,
right.
It's just not just one segment time of day, because I say it all the time. Okay, if it's in the area of people of color that are doing something success, which a lot of us are doing. Okay, the Truth Behind the Truth is is an example. Okay, of what happens to when you put your mind to making something happen here in America. Myself, we were talking about this on pre-show, but I want to again celebrate my brother. I'm really proud of his success. I think that he is an example of what happens here in America and making the decisions to go through the things that he has been through to be a successful businessman. So, hey, today I'm celebrating my brother Harold LaFall as making Black American history. Because at the end of the day, when he's on the other side with me, after I'm going to, he'll be there before me because I'm going to 105.
105, I ain't gonna be here.
Yeah, he's going to 102. So he'll be waiting for me when I get there at the other 3 years. Okay.
Well, I wanted to ask you guys a question.
Yes.
Outside of your parents, who has been the biggest influence on your life as we celebrate Black history?
And put that in the comment section, those who are hearing this. That's a good question to put in the comment section.
Right.
Repeat that question one more time, Harold.
Who, outside of your parents, who has been the biggest influence in your life?
Oh, who has been the biggest influence? Oh, wow. Does it have to be famous or non-famous?
No. It could just don't have to be famous at all. No.
Okay. My goodness. I would say, God, it's so many. Okay, my music teacher at the time, my goodness, he was our choir teacher in high school. I don't want to get his name wrong, but it'll come to me later on. But he was the biggest influence, because what happened in high school, when you go into that phase of trying to figure yourself out, trying to figure things out, and we were talking about masculinity in the beginning. He was very influential in getting me geared up for something that was so what I like, which was music and the arts. I love music. I love talking about music, which is why I did DTWW. Oh my goodness! In fact, I don't know why his name won't come up. And it's been a while since since I talked about him, but he was the biggest influence at that time for me. Yeah.
And he's still influencing you now. He's influencing.
He is. And I wish I didn't forget his name. My God,
I'll come back to you.
Yeah, it's gonna come to me.
What about you, JB?
Oh, you want me to go? Okay. So I would have to say, honestly, I'm gonna say my parents.
I said outside of your parents.
Oh, outside of your parents. Okay. Wow. That's gonna take a minute. Well, no. Okay, I would have to say my aunt, my favorite aunt. Okay, which was Florence Hall.
Oh wow.
She was, I think, the example outside of next to what would be considered my mom. She really spent a lot of time, formulating me on who I was outside of what my parents did. She helped me at a young age to be able to embrace becoming an actor. you know, because every year she would make sure that I was a part. She would do productions every year at their church and whatever. So she made sure that I would be a part of her productions, you know, every year. And she kind of dropped that bug in me, you know, to be able to do that. So I would say her, you know, I mean, at this point, you know, I have other relatives I could, but for the immediacy and what we do, it would have to be her. What about you, Harry?
It would have to be my godmother. And the reason why is my godmother, she's a very loud woman.
Okay.
And she always would be very loud in her applause for me and her she just thought I could do anything. And I remember in the 6th grade, I was in the play The Wiz, and I had a very small role. I was one of the scarecrows, and I had a very small role in the play. But my godmother was in the audience, and all you could hear her when I had my little part was her screaming, "Go champ, go champ." And that made me feel so like I could do anything. And she's still that way to this day. She makes me feel like I can do anything. And so, you know, I attribute so much of whatever I've been able to accomplish to her, because she gave me the confidence that made me believe in myself.
Wow, that's good. Let's applaud your godmother for that. That's beautiful, and for you to be able to reflect back on that, you know, and propels you even to where you are right now. You know, you're just 25. I mean, you got a long way to go.
You know, right?
Thank you. With all this gray hair, I'm 25. Yeah,
25, exactly. Okay, but speaking of that, you know, or that it being necessary. So I know before the break we were going to talk about ageism in America. Okay, and just real brief, we won't dig into it too much tonight, but
and what prompted this conversation was an icon that we all love and adore, the original Material Girl herself, Madonna. And just seeing her now, this way is just it's really shocking and sad, you know, because we all love Madonna,
right?
And,
you know, to me, this becomes more of a meltdown than a melt up. Okay. You know, I'm serious. I mean, realistically,
truth behind the truth.
Truth behind the truth. Okay, this has become a really meltdown rather than a melt up. Okay, you mean at the end of the day, because you know, for her, in women in America, by and large, they are under such scrutiny for their looks. You know, at the end of the day, and you know, from aging gracefully to not aging at all, to a multi-billion-dollar industry on keeping them looking, you know, a certain way. I mean, it's like I look at sometimes look at these shows and stuff that on TV, and all of these products. I mean, hundreds of products to lift this, tuck that, collagen, no collagen, rub this on, sleep with that on. You know, I mean, it's a wonder how they even know who they are when they go to bed.
Right.
I mean, realistically, and I'm sorry, and it's rolling over to men at this particular point in time. You know, I mean, very heavily. You know, and it's so you know, unfortunate that women, you know, have to go through ageism in America, and we know that from the industry that we're part of, they hit it very hard. You know, they said typically if a woman, if she's not done most of her acting by 25, she can start forgetting it, because over 30, you know, she's considered too old, and that's even in the modeling arena. You know, now on the other side of that, you know, men, they have a longer a span in that time.
Well, let's just stick to the basics, okay? I mean, nothing goes wrong with making sure that your room temperature is winter freeze, because it tightens tightens the skin, the fouls of the skin.
Joan Crawford
and moisturizer.
Oh my God,
it really works.
We didn't say orangism in America.
You know, it's certain things like, you know, tightens the skin, making sure that you're staying hydrated. Just stick to the basics. But I want to also add to the people who are commenting. We're reading it. We're reading and we're noticing. Thank you for the comments, Mary. That was so nice of you. Oh my goodness. But Harold, go ahead. I appreciate you, Mary wrote.
But you know, it is really sad because, you know, like you said, JB, of all the marketing that's done to make it seem like aging is like a disease.
Right.
That's what, you know, that's what the marketing makes it seem like. Aging is some kind of disease and not the gift that it is. You know, and even for me, as I began to get older, I started to get caught up in that. You know, I was dyeing my beard all black, and I was in my 50s knowing that this was not really black. And it took me a minute to embrace it because I was still seeing myself as this youthful guy. But other people, I remember going to speak to some young people at the juvenile hall, and they were calling me an OG. And I was like, oh my God, that's what that's who I am. And I think we miss the beauty of aging and the wisdom and the acceptance and the freedom that comes as we grow older, and you know what, one of the things that happened to me though, once I stopped dyeing my hair gray, dyeing it black, it seemed like my business just kind of blew up. All my social media stuff started blowing up when I started just being me, not trying to look like I was younger. When I started embracing being the 55-year-old me or the 50-year-old me, 52 or whenever, when I stopped doing the dye, things started changing for me in terms of just my business. So,
well, look at those fashions.
I know, right? So speaking to your point, and I'm glad you put that fashion. I got one point about that fashion. We'll talk about that in a minute. But to your point, Harold, one of the things that has been, I think, what happened is that you changed the energy around you. You know what I'm saying? So you started attracting the greater good, the greater emphasis that you had to put out there. And I think that because what you were doing was masking that, masking the opportunity of or that next energy level that you're supposed to put in humanity so that they can embrace you on another level. And by doing so, you suppressed it. You know what I mean? By taking on another look. Rather than the look that was supposed to be there to draw people into you. So that's
messing up all my sheets with all that black dye.
But it boils down to the American culture because we always consider ourselves the youthful nation in a way, the young nation, the young country. And I think it's been always in our culture as far back as when, whenever media is that youth has always been golden. I don't care who you are, woman, man, child, it's always golden to stay youthful. Right. And I think social media has blown that up. Now it has really blown it up into an all-time high to stay youthful because you want to stay youthful for dating. Right. Exactly. Then on top of that to sell products, Harold, and then on top of that to just do all types of things because it looks nice, but at the end of the day, it takes so much work. Right, and that's a luxury that some of us you know what, to be honest with you, I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid of getting old. I think, to be honest with you, it's so nice to see the evolution of the human body in a way. Right. And for those who are scared, I wish they weren't taught to have that type of dysmorphia over their life, because I was watching this clip with Whoopi Goldberg and the comedian from Fashion Police, your girl.
Joan Rivers.
Joan Rivers. Okay. There was a conversation that was had where they was having a conversation about being thin and beautiful, and Whoopi was like, I'm fine with my beauty, but Joan Rivers had a problem with her. She couldn't look in the mirror. She couldn't look in the mirror every morning. She said, God gave me a challenge each and every day to look in the mirror every day. She said, well, and Whoopi kept saying, why? This is all over social media too. But why? Why can't you accept who you are? And people think you have to go to therapy to do that. Whoopi was like, no, I did this all by myself. Because she said, when I saw how it is to build up an image, then it makes sense. Why? Because at the end of the day, that's an image that's being built. You have people who do hair and makeup, but you see in these magazines, the airbrushing, the filters, like we were talking about. It's that ain't that. Well, I mean, if you like that, all well, but you know what I'm saying. But it's too much, and I wish people would understand that.
His hair ain't all black like that, but go ahead.
But we don't wake up like that, like Beyonce. We don't wake up like that. We don't wake up. It's a process. So people need to understand that at the end of the day, those people who we look up to, understand you got to think about it. How do they look when they wake up in the morning? Exactly.
This is so true. Well, I love all you guys' point. My whole thing about that with Asian, I have to go back to when I was a young person or a child growing up, and one of the things that is so different, being considered, yeah, right. Growing up is that because when in what I saw was the people that are in our age group now, they look really old. You know what I mean? You see what I'm saying? They look really old. And I was like, I don't want to look like that when I get that age, you know? And I don't know if it was, the hard life or whatever.
It was the steak and cigarettes.
Right.
The steak and cigarettes.
The choices that I think that a lot of them made, at that particular point in time or whatever. And I think, like, as you said, Harold, earlier, the OG image that has gone out like that. Because even those that are younger than us kind of see us the same way, probably, in some areas of life. But I think for me, it was just that, and I had to reframe my thinking, from that, because no, I certainly don't look like they look when they were my age at that point. And, okay, they'll quit. Everybody wanted to look like Shaft. But anyway, but one point, I'm glad he was putting those things up. We got to move on to this last subject, was about the fashion. Okay, and I know we meant to mention this earlier, but there's one particular fashion that's been circling around, okay, and thank you, is the ass out fashion. Okay, it ain't sagging. That's ass out. Just call it what it is. All right. And so the fashion industry now, I don't know if you guys have seen. You can find it on Instagram and everywhere else. They circling it around that these designers had came out with pants, or what? Were they not even pants? I don't know what they are. That now that these men, okay, I was going to say young boys. That sounds like an OG, but now they can officially wear them below their ass without a problem. Okay, I mean, it's part of the fashion trend now. I think it's a bit ridiculous. What's your comment, real quick? Then we got to move on to the last one.
It's uncomfortable for me. I wouldn't want to walk around with my tail out, but to each his own. But it's uncomfortable.
Harold.
Yeah, to each his own. And it ain't my speed, but look, if you like it.
And one of the ones was this African American guy that he came on. So he's sitting at the bench. Sitting at the bench. Okay, not that form, but that's where it started from. That right there. But he's sitting at the bench. Okay, and it got to the point that he got up when he was reading the newspaper. Right, so he gets up and pants less, and his pants are on a leash, so he walking the pants behind him. Okay, I mean, I'm sure there was a big ploy against this whole fashion trend, but at the end of the day, who's to say we're not going to end up that way at some point? Okay, okay, that's enough.
The history of it is very telling. I mean, I was always told that was a prison culture there to know who those who walk around, like that. That was to tell people that you were it.
Greg, thanks for it, but I don't even consider it fashion. I don't even consider it fashion. I think it's just an embarrassment to men. But anyway, we're going to move on, okay? Because we want to find out now. All right, we're going to find out now.
Yes, Mayor. Tell them to pull those pants up, please.
Mary, I tell them to pull them damn pants up is what I said. We're going to move on. We got
Stephanie Mills.
We got to move on to
what's that aside?
We got to talk about the black Jesus, white Jesus thing. Okay. Yeah, we got. Oh my gosh. I thought this had been settled, guys, but we got to clear the air on the truth behind the truth. All right. We got to clear this air. All right. About black Jesus and white Jesus. Okay. It is surfaced once again that y'all Christians. Okay. All right. I'm gonna say y'all Christians because y'all only one having this debate. All right. About who to worship, whether he white or whether he black. Okay, my whole thing on this, and I may get a little bit deeper into it. My whole thing is like this, all right? The clear example should be, okay, if you take it from a scripture perspective, what you should be doing, all right, not a picture that hung on somebody's wall in your great-grandmama's house or, whatever the case may be. It should be the representation that you give as a person to humanity. So if I come to you in love and peace and harmony and everything else, that is the representation of the spirit of Jesus being dispensed in earth. So guess what? Harold is the black bald-headed Jesus at this particular point in time. But he's gonna give me life-changing, affirming confirmation. If Dylan gonna come to me and give me life-changing, affirming and confirmation, he is the black Jesus with the green hat on and the hoodie. Okay, so if somebody Caucasian comes to me and say, "Hey, brother, I love the way you look," and they got blonde hair and blue eyes, but they come with a message of God, that's the Jesus that's coming to me. So bottom line here is, and then we're gonna move on, and we talk about Stephanie Mills. Moving on here is that scripturally speaking, you will be the only Jesus that anybody will ever see. Okay. Bottom line. So whatever you're putting out there, if you want to be that Jesus to people, then be that Jesus to people. But be that number one, be that one that's going to love God first, love yourself, and then love the person in front of you. All right, I'm done.
Now, when I was growing up, there was two pictures that we all had in our house. There's a picture of Martin Luther King and the picture of that white Jesus with the blue eyes. Every black family had those two pictures.
I thought, what about the one with J.F. Kennedy in the middle? Martin Luther King, J.F. Kennedy, and Jesus. My thing is, at the end of the day, it really tells you how really ridiculous the notion is that we're still saying
having this
conversation,
right.
and still how separate the church is. I hate to say it though, but there's still separations in the church because of racism and culture.
Right. True. All right. Go to your Stephanie Mills.
What you say about
Stephanie Mills.
Yes.
I think, you talk about old and generational. Now, Stephanie Mills, a lot of the Beehive is saying that she dissed Beyonce, is calling her only hip hop because she's not as royal as Diana Ross. So I just want to get y'all opinion.
Wait, now I'm about to put
I saw that.
But still, though, my thing is with this, she didn't say nothing wrong. It was all blown out of proportion. People are very sensitive. But she was just saying that she doesn't look, because of her generation, because of where she not started, but because of who she looked up to growing up, she doesn't see Beyonce in the same vein as a Diana Ross, because Diana Ross is considered royalty, which I agree.
I agree.
She is legendary. Right. She opened up the doors for Beyonce. Absolutely. If it wasn't for Diana Ross, that wouldn't have been a Whitney Houston. That would have been a Beyonce. So I wholeheartedly agree with Stephanie Mills. But for those people who are downing this woman for her opinion, stop. It makes you look stupid out here, because know your musical history.
They both are great. They both are great. But they are different. And Diana Ross is the epitome of class and elegance, and and not that Beyonce isn't, but they're just too different. You can't compare. It's like comparing apples to oranges.
Well, I think it's just really an insult straight across the board, and and I'm not the biggest Beehive fan, but and for different reasons. Okay, so but here's the thing,
I love Beyonce.
I know you do, but there's different levels in the idea of performances and what a person what a person brings to the stage. Okay, during the height of Diana Ross's time frame, she was the glitzy glamour. She still is the queen, but she was all of that. And a lot of the things that this other generation does, it's just replicate what happened previously. Yeah. At the end of the day, it was, from
Truth behind the truth.
Yeah, truth behind the truth. And the same thing with Janet. I mean, far as the greatest opportunity of bringing high level performances to the stage, nobody can touch Janet Jackson, because she was the one that started it. Okay, in terms of those type of performances. Okay, so you have all these other ones that came along behind her and have done. Yeah, they've capitalized on it. They made it bigger and the whole 9 yards. Like, yeah, I get it. But like you said, I just think that's a useless conversation. And for the benefit of Stephanie Mills, look, ain't none of them touched the stage like she did. Okay, and she was a groundbreaker. Okay, in the area, number one of Broadway. Okay, number one Broadway. The first major black play that was done by Stephanie Mills. Okay, The Wiz. Go check it out.
But Fantasia, I love Fantasia, so I'm gonna give her a big. That's a legendary vocalist besides Beyonce too, and I want to say that is my generation. And that's it. That's what I want to put out there.
So, hey, guys, this has been a good night. Yes, I'll tell you, with news buzz, a hot news buzz with the fellas tonight. We have talked about getting your man clean. Ooh. Okay. And helping them stay clean. Okay. We have talked about the variations of between Jesus the black and Jesus white. But Jesus, like one of the comments said, Jesus is just Jesus. Okay? At the end of the day.
Aging gracefully and aging gracefully.
Exactly. We've talked about aging gracefully, at the end of the day. All right. Do that to what makes you feel comfortable, at the end of the day. Embrace what you need to embrace. But please don't try to look like Madonna in the process.
Live your life and be you.
Bye, Miss Alma. Bye, Greg. Bye, Mary.
Bye, Miss Alma.
But anyway, so guys, thank you so much again for tuning in to Channel. We hope again that you were inspired, for something tonight. And take this and share it. Share the message. Share it to your brothers, share it to your friends, share it to everybody. Get out there and share it, pass us on. All right. Yes. And remember, re-airing of the broadcast, you can tell somebody will be coming up this Wednesday night. All right. Yes. We'll see you again next week. Yes. All right. On The Truth Behind the Truth.
Bye, Renee.